welcome to Classics Confidential on location in Washington, D.C. I'm talking with Ted Gellar-Goad, and we're discussing how we can use pop music, rap, to bring our students closer together to classical texts. I mean, you know, at first glance it might appear that those two just don't connect, but you've actually found in the classroom that it could be a really good way to engage your students. So tell us about your experience.
So one of the things that's really tough is teaching, say, eratodidaxis. I teach elegy, but I'm also teaching an introduction to Athenian civilization this semester. And one of the things that we talked about was the Erastes-Eromenos relationship, which is both sexual and also educatory. And that's weird and confusing and foreign and complex and also kind of creep my students out. But then I said, well, think about this song by Flo Rida that's been on the radio over the past couple of years called Whistle, and the lyrics go the chorus goes something to the effect of, I'm going to show you how to whistle, baby. It's easy. You just put your lips up on it and you start to blow. Come on, blow my whistle. We're going to, baby, here we go. And that's right, simply eratodidaxis. It's a more experienced male with an addressee who is a sexual object who is also being taught along with the sexual intercourse. Again, I think it's creepy, but it's something that's familiar to the students and helps them get their minds around this really difficult topic. And Flo Rida is a hip-hop artist, we could say a rapper, and the rapper's persona is a lot like the persona of the figure of elegy, especially the figure of elegy, the poet-lover, as we understand him now after the advances of the past couple of decades in scholarship. The persona is obviously fictitious. We can think about how Eminem has songs about killing his wife, but hasn't actually killed his wife. Eminem has songs about having gay sex, but he doesn't intend us to think that he himself has had gay sex in the past. It's an autobiographical yet fictitious persona, and similarly with a lot of rappers who claim to be drug dealers when in fact they just got lucky in the music industry the way that singer-songwriters and country artists get lucky in the music industry by being found by the right executives, such that Jay-Z at one point makes a reference to how he's from the real ghetto, not from the rap ghetto. And similarly, they're interested in using allusion and metapoetic play to assert their authority. Their poetry or their flow is the thing that makes them badass, the thing that makes them successful, the thing that brings them power, and the thing that brings them free sex with chicks who want to give it up to them. And this is exactly what we see, and especially Propertius, but also in Tibullus and Ovid. And students may not be familiar with hip-hop specifically, but they're familiar with this figure, generally speaking, exceptions for those who come from a background where they haven't been exposed to pop music or American popular culture more broadly. But it's something that is an easy entry point into some of the more complicated Topoi. Another good example is Horace's Carpe Diem theme, you know, enjoy the days of your life while you still have your youth and your beauty, and especially give me free sex while you still have your youth and beauty. And that's exemplified all over the place in modern hip-hop and pop music, particularly in a Pitbull song from 2011 that says, give me everything tonight, we might not see tomorrow, so let's do it tonight.
So do you find that teaching in using pop music, is it a sensitive issue as well? Does it help you bring out some of the violence, sometimes sexual violence in Roman poetry? And how do students respond, especially if they come perhaps from a conservative background?
So reception is definitely a two-way street, and so by looking at classics or classical themes that are reflected in modern culture, we're not just seeing more things about the culture of our study of the classics, but also about our own culture. And so when I use these to teach the ancient poetry, the ancient lyric topoi, it gives a chance, once we've isolated in this foreign third-party kind of separate subject, gives us a chance to turn the lens back on ourselves and say, so what do these songs say about us as a society now that we know about this in this context with the treatment of women in Athens or Rome? I have received resistance in using this before from some particularly conservative religious backgrounds, but I receive the same exact kind of resistance when I teach Catullus as Catullus. If you call a spade in ancient poetry, especially the kind of poetry that I study, elegy, satire, Lucretius, so forth, then Roman comedy, then if you call a spade, then you're gonna offend sensibilities, especially ones where curse words or dirty things, and talking about sex is something that should be between you, your married partner, and God in the private room. So there is resistance, but again, it's about. I think it's important to draw our students out of their comfort zone, at least for a small period, to get them to inhabit another sort of viewpoint. At the same time, something that using pop music does is allows students to claim a little bit of ownership over the topic and make a meaningful connection between something often very close to their identity, whether it's country or pop or baroque or rap or opera or whatever, and the text that we're studying, getting them to put some skin in the game.
Well, thank you very much, Ted.
It's a pleasure.
Right.
Very good. Looks great. Looks great.
Thanks so
Sounds
much
great.
for having us.
No, it's been great. You talked about,